I spent the morning gridding the top of this toilet seat, which I keep calling guitar. It's toilet seat. And I'm going to show you, I have gridded, can't know if you can see that. It's all gridded, and I'm going to actually, I think, turn on my close-up camera to start painting the squares. Now, in one of my last on the guitar project, the whole project I was talking about naming the squares. And we went through the Queen Square. Finally I came to, with my daughter's help, to name them the Royal Squares. So we're going to paint the Royal Squares, and then the little stately stripes, and then the dignified dots. That's what they're named. How about that? You have to go back to the guitar to see why it's all royal. That's the story. All right, I'm gonna change to my close-up camera so you can see detail. Okay, I have to say that I've been doing all of these squares, and it was not on video. It was not videoing. So everything that I said about all of this, I'm gonna have to repeat. This is gonna be the most amazing, not professional YouTube videos that ever were recorded. But at first I showed the gridding, how I had to grid, and I had to do it differently than the guitar because it doesn't have the silver chrome trim, and I had to figure out, I spent all morning trying to figure out, okay, how am I gonna do it without that silver rim? And instead I switched the little silver rim that's gonna be here with the dots with the little stripes and put them in here. So it's going to have a little bit of a different design to the finisher guitar that I just painted in the last video that I did. So I am going to paint some more squares and talk once again about how I figure all this out, how I grid this toilet seat. Even though it's kind of oval, I'm treating it as if it were a square. Anyhow, I'm looking at this as a rectangle, and with a rectangle, for everything to come out evenly on either side, where you have it starting and ending in the same color, meaning if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an odd number, and it ended out evenly on either side. For that to happen, you have to have an odd number. And so I had to measure all across the toilet seat. It was 12 inches across, just like the guitar. And with my calculator, I divided 11 into the 12, and it was a 1 1/8 inches for each royal square. And that's how I measured all the way across so that it would be even. I have a bit of a throat issue. Daughter Kim told me I need speech lessons because I have what she called a grottle. What in the heck is that? Sounds like something a turtle, I mean not a turtle, but a turkey would have, right? Something on a turkey. And here at 76 years old, I gotta go take voice lessons to get rid of a grottle. But I think it's because I've been talking to her too much on the phone. So I just keep going with these little royal squares until I get finished. don't know, Kimmy, is that enough explanation for you? You keep saying you still don't understand how I measure. But that's how I measure. And so I took my trusty rulers and I made little marks going across and going up and down and connected all the lines with my ruler so that it made these squares. If I didn't do that, I would have a mess. I have to have something to go by, even though my brush doesn't stay totally in the lines. But that's the way I paint. That's the way I like it to look when it's all finished. These are my royal squares, and that's how they're done. Except I still have to embellish them. Alright, folks, are y'all getting bored? But this is fun for me. I love doing this. Whoops, I almost went into the wrong place. My little X is missing. That's why I mark with an X, so that I don't go start painting the wrong square. That is another reason for the damn it doll when that happens. You don't know what I'm talking about if you haven't watched the guitar project from start to finish. I talk about the damn it doll that my daughter sent me. Okay, I'm not quite done. I've got to do all the little pieces that are around the edges that I need a smaller brush. So I'm not going to do that with you. I'm going to pause here and finish up that. But I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. My daughter Cinnamon gave me this. It's called a damn it doll. So when I mess up, like a minute ago when I thought I was filming and I wasn't, this is when it comes in handy. I can just go bam, 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 damn it, damn it, damn it, when I make a mistake. Okay, that's it, the doll. All right, we're going to take a pause, and I'll finish the squares, and then I'll come back and we'll start the little stately stripes, and then the big stately stripes. See you in a bit. I finished the squares, and now we're going to start on the stripes. And I'm using a smaller brush and going around this curve. Things are a little bit trickier. Mostly on the white. When I'm painting behind a white square, I want it mostly to be black. And when I'm painting with the black square in front of me, like this, I want the more white to show, so I paint the center. I'm dividing these into 3 little sections, 3 little stripes, stately stripes. Everything looks really rough at this point. I always want to throw it in the trash right now, but I know that if I stick with it, it will turn out the way that I intended. It just looks rough right now. I guess that's with any artist drawing when they start out. It looks pretty weird. See, this is working the way I like. Where there's black, I want more white, and where there's white, I want more black coming down from it. Honestly, anybody could do this. If I figured it out. It took me a while. I didn't know you had an odd number of squares on a rectangle, and I ended up with where it didn't upright. I had to start over, so that wasn't fun. But you know, you learn sometimes by making mistakes. But I've learned with this kind of painting, There's no mistake that's fatal. You just have to keep on trucking and it'll work out. And these corners are what are a little tricky to get them to look right. The little stately stripes have to be a little wider on these on the curve. A lot wider here. And some of this, as I paint the silver, it'll cover up some of this unevenness that looks weird. So we are going around this whole toilet seat like this. And I think I will say goodbye for a little bit and finish all of this up. I finished doing the little stately stripes around, and now I'm going to start with the big stripes on the sides, and I'll go fairly quickly and you'll be able to see when I turn it around. This doesn't make sense until it's almost finished. It looks a bit messy right now, but it will look great, Kimmy, I promise. I'm doing the big stripes. I'll do a few more and then I'll turn it around so you can see. And these are kind of following the lines that are on the squares that come down. I literally do these by hand, these lines. Right, one more and then I'll turn it around. Now, we'll turn this around and maybe you can, oh, no, you can't see. Can you see? There they are. There's the big stripes coming down the side. I can't figure out how to get this all on the screen with the way everything's set up. So, slide it. And maybe I need to switch to my close-up camera so you can see better. I think I'll do that. All right. I'm gonna switch cameras.